If you thought that your finances were a mess, well, let me introduce you to Isabelle. We are showing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 different credit cards.
I felt that everything was monotone. I would never afford a house. My money was just going to be paycheck by paycheck. I did my very best to find anything that I can get back on track, but it was already too late. The magnitude of the damage was already done.
You spend $1,872. You pretty much spend more on shit that you have on your checking account. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? My name is Romain, and for the past 10 years, I've been on a quest to tackle America's toughest personal finance situations. Leveraging my Ivy League master degree and personal experience, I've found solutions for what seems impossible. In 1 year, you can completely be in a different spot. Are we ready to take action?
Yes.
Will this be the one I cannot solve? Let's see what happens. Let's look at your profile. You are 39 years old, you're originally from California, you currently live in Ventura, California as well. You unfortunately just got terminated from an engineer job. You were in the collection industry, so we're gonna have some interesting juice here from someone that was on the other side of the line when it comes to collecting bad payments. At some point, you're pretty young, you're watching your father on TV as part of America's Most Wanted list. What the heck is going on here?
Well, my father was an entrepreneur. He made hydraulics for the lowrider industry, and he was very successful. And fortunately, there was a false accusation of conspiracy of murder. And he fled the country.
So you are fleeing the country to Mexico. At that point, you're in your early teens. Everything kind of crumbles. You guys are pretty much restarting from zero.
So my family was completely crumbled and devastated. We couldn't believe what was happening to us. Eventually, we continued hiding, but making ends meet on what we can to fabricate. And eventually, I grew up. I got a full-time job at a collections agency.
You are at this point behind the line.
Yeah.
Trying to collect payments, and you were also commissioned to success.
Yeah. So I had a team actually, and that team, they were commissioned if they collected the payment. It could be very frustrating too, because a lot of people hang up. A lot of people, they are rude over the phone. You don't get nice calls, and most of the time, the environment is very. It's not that nice. It's uncomfortable, and that could make you feel a little bit unsensitive. You're just calling them to remind them. So it's like a ticket, a clock.
And so as the clock is ticking, people fall into different sectors of collections to the point at which it's more than 90 days now. It's no longer, here, let me help you out. It's like, get your damn payment going, otherwise we're going to report you to credit bureaus. But if they don't happen, then they get reported as ghost calls, and their debts get paid to another collection agency. And that's how you go through the levels of collections. So if you had something to say here to maybe people that are finding themselves in collection right now, that are getting those calls, what should you say?
Answer the call and take advantage of what offers they have to offer you.
Well, also, I would say, though, if you're not willing and ready to pay, I would not make myself alive in the head of collections agency, because the moment, and you have to confirm that to me, the moment you answer the phone, that's it. You're in the line, and then you're being called every single day. Is that right? Whereas if you don't answer, at some point they kind of surrender on you and they sell you to other guys. Isn't that right?
That's correct. If you don't answer the phone call, your debt's going to be sold to another agency.
So please, guys, if you're in a pinch and you really cannot pay, don't make yourself alive. I'm sorry, but that's kind of how it is, because you want to negotiate on those. But let's transition through that. Then you're kind of going out from that collection era. At the time, you're supporting your family financially.
Yeah.
And you finally also get a job in your field of predilection, engineering. You're starting making money, but the salary in Mexico is horrendous. You have a pretty strong position at Continental, but you're earning less than the person that works at McDonald's in the United States. How do you feel at that time?
Kind of feels like you're selling yourself short. It was not enough money. It was a struggle. And, my debt, I wanted to have goals. I just didn't want my life all to be about paying your bills and living paycheck by paycheck. And I wanted to own a house. I was able to pay off 2 cars at that time. But I gave those cars to my parents because they needed it. And I was just maintaining the situation, but it wasn't enough to get out and to do a life of my own.
And so at the time, in the meantime of all of that, you also meet your now ex-husband.
Yeah.
You guys have a child together, but at 35 years old, you take the decision that changes your life.
I moved from Mexico to the U.S., back to the U.S.
How much did you have at the time?
I probably had like $400.
What do you do then?
The only way that I could have, make it was by the kindness of my brother, that he did not charge me for a certain period until I got a job. I had to have a strong support system. And my brother, he helped me for a couple, until I got the job. And then from there, I helped him with half of the rent.
And so through that time, your ex-husband is also in Mexico taking care of the child. And you give him the promise that, hey, I'm going to have you soon come to America, but I need a little bit of money. Your target was how much?
It was $5,000.
How long did it take you to get to that $5,000?
It took me 8 months.
The husband come now with the child, and a new life starts for both of you. During the first few months, things are flowing right, but then something starts to happen in your relationship that crumbled everything.
Yes, I think I had a job at a semiconductor company, and he had a job and still has a great job at it's a biomedical company. And I felt that it was just over, and we grew apart, and I left him. I felt madly in love with another person. And we had a very romantic, vacation in Vegas. And that's when I decided I wanted to get a divorce. And because I wasn't divorced yet.
And so at this point, you're going through an existential crisis because you did not have the fund even to pay for a lawyer. You start to put everything on credit cards. You move to Las Vegas. What's the life there?
Well, we had vacations in Vegas, but I wanted a very nice, luxurious vacation. So I paid for, like almost all-inclusive here in Vegas, exclusive luxury floors that, you had VIP access. And it was I started making, eating wherever I wanted without worrying and using the credit card to just go ahead and pay the bills and maxing out my card. But the worst thing is I went over that cap. There's always that safety cap that once you go over for more than what you can pay for, you can't go back. And I breached that.
So what our friend is saying here is that you pretty much at this point were putting so much money on your credit cards that even despite how much you were making on the side, the payments, you were still upside down.
Yes.
And you found yourself in that loop, spending, and in a way, you didn't find the happiness that you were looking for in that story. What happened there?
Well, like I said, I was madly in love, and love blinds you. And I think it's being lonely, being in love, and being a people pleaser, and you love the person. You want to make sure that you give them everything, and that I thought that I was gonna have a life. I bought furniture. I thought that furniture was gonna stay there. I was getting engaged. He proposed to me. I was so excited. I was already thinking about having a baby, and where that even impacts because it cost. And, I was just seeing myself in a new life. And when you get married, when you start building up that relationship, you will spend because you have hope. Unfortunately, it didn't work. And I was trying to make it work. He was doing his best to make it work, but it unfortunately we had to go separate ways. And I had to go back. I went back with my ex-husband.
Okay, so at that point, you've now accumulated, and you will see, guys, tens of cards with payments in the thousands of dollars. Your mental health is challenged. You're kind of in that struggle where you also have to go back, as you mentioned, to your ex-husband with no money. What's going on there?
Yeah, it's easy for me to say that. Oh, how can you got married, you're getting divorced, you went to one relationship, and then all of a sudden, how can you? Unfortunately, I was not in a mental state that was well enough to understand. Like when you're madly in love, you make decisions, and you're not thinking right. Especially in the moment that I was in by the time of COVID, my father passed away. I just felt lonely, and I felt that everything was monotone. Life, I would never afford a house. I felt that my money was just going to be paycheck by paycheck, and it was just going to take time. And I started getting desperate of that time, and life was boring. And I think that's why when I didn't appreciate what I currently had, which was a little bit just control and stability, I kind of poked it. I kind of felt that I was provoking, to start feeling that I deserved a different type of relationship, thinking that I was gonna have a great relationship with this sexy, passionate man. He was handsome. He was a fitness trainer. And that's why I say it was an existential crisis, maybe like a midlife crisis. I had dreams, but that started accumulating debt. I felt emotionally ruined, but in a way, I did my very best to find anything that I can get back on track. But it was already too late. And so I couldn't pay anything collection. The calls started pouring in.
And then you now are left pretty much on your own, no money, nothing. You go back to LA.
I was knocking on the door of my ex-husband because I felt, he's my friend. We stayed friends, and see if he can help me. I was at his mercy. And the good thing is that we maintain like a co-parenting, good, friendly relationship. We're still friends. I don't really think, we're right now at this moment, a relationship we don't need. We just need to survive. We need to, unfortunately, I felt so guilty and so bad how things ended up because my ex-husband was part of a Bitcoin fraud. He got scammed. So I came back to an ex-husband that because of my fault, he felt lonely, and he believed in those dating apps, and he met a foreign robo sexy lady asking for help and asking for Bitcoin. And he gave away money. I mean, he accidentally, no, it's not an accident. He felt lonely and he got scammed.
$50,000.
$50,000 in debt. He's filing bankruptcy right now.
As we speak?
Yeah.
So hold on. So you're unemployed.
Yeah.
He's filing bankruptcy.
He's filing bankruptcy. I feel that it's all my fault.
And you have a child in the middle as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because I thought that he was in a good financial position to help you out financially, because you're in
No.
a crazy amount of debt as well.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're both pretty much in survival mode.
I thought we were, financially separated. But unfortunately, I realized that in order to survive, I can't we need each other's support. And so right now he has a job. He's paying the rent. While meanwhile, I was actually paying to build up credit.
And speaking about building credit, I always keep myself up to date with products that let you enhance your financial situation. And today, I want to speak about Dovely AI. It's a free app that lets you fix, build, and protect your credit, all of that automatically. Most people downloading the app see a 34 points boost for free and over 82 with premium. The way to use the app, guys, is pretty simple. You would have to enter your information, and then this app allows you to monitor on your credit and help dispute and fix credit error when they arise. This app was also created to help you build credit from scratch or bounce back from bad credit. I was able to very quickly understand what are some of the steps that I need to do in order to better my credit. It's personalized to me, to my situation, and it gives me exactly step by step what I need to do in order to make it happen. Finally, it protects your credit 24/7 from identification theft, which we know can be a massive burden. Look, guys, you don't need to be rich to fight back. You just need the right tool. So tap the link in the description to try Dovely AI for free and start raising your credit score today.
Helping him with if he needs additional expenses on the bankruptcy and the child expenses. So I was just like, for example, he was doing the base of like at least the foundation, where to live at. And I was, doing the groceries, the childcare, and, those additional perks that come out. So we're trying to get our finances back on track. So he's filing, the best way for him and to fix it is to file bankruptcy according to what they what I've recommended.
Let's speak now about the specific your hardship, because you're in the middle of one as well, as recent as a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
You got fired from your job where you were making how much?
I was making $86,000.
As an engineer. You just recently filed for unemployment.
Yeah.
But you're still not approved, so you've been living off zero, because as far as I know, you have no other stream of income.
No, but
Nothing.
I'm a really hard worker. So what I'm doing right now is I'm open to DoorDash. I have a car, but I'm right now trying to look for work, and I'm applying. I'm updating my LinkedIn. Then I realized that I got a robocall from one of those recruiting agencies that I had to pay. They're like, give me your resume. And I was like, okay, I'm going to send them my resume. And they're like, oh, on the API or this program, you scored 35%. That means that here's a third party, a recommendation from this site, so you can pay a technical writer so they can credit up your LinkedIn and your resume.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of betting of desperation. And so right now, we are showing $0 of income. You've filed for unemployment that's going to give you in California a cap of $450 a week.
Oh my goodness.
You're looking at about $1,800 a month.
Yeah.
Or $21,600 per year. Hopefully this is temporary. You also have a car. We'll be speaking about how you could monetize that. I see that you've been doing some of that. But let's look at your assets. On your checking account, you have a balance of $1,939. You also have two other forms of assets. One car that you recently bought, a 2019 Honda Accord hybrid, valued at $20,006. And you just realized only a few months ago another account that came in as a surprise, a retirement plan that comes from nowhere when you were really young, to the value of $13,145 invested, again, guys, sometimes it's a good surprise. It's not the first time that we see people having retirement accounts that pop up from nowhere. If you guys are looking for maybe a retirement plan that you haven't or you're not aware of, check out the link below. We have a preferred partner with Capitalize, and they do that, guys, for free. Any other form of assets?
No.
Anything family related? When your father passed away, was there any money that you inherited?
Unfortunately, I didn't.
Are you expecting any other form of money soon?
Just no.
That brings your total assets right now at 39 years old at $35,090. But there is a lot of debt. Your time in Las Vegas, as well as your time going through lawyers and so on. We are showing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 different credit cards. A lot of which, though, you've had a smart move to consolidate into a credit card consolidation. And actually, guys, for the first time ever, I'm going to be revealing the strategy and the discounts that you've been able to acquire from that collection. Are you ready for a ride together?
Yep, I'm ready.
All right, in a different order, you guys are going to see how the system works. You have an American Express with a balance of $4,300. The collectors that you're working with were able to negotiate it to $2,185. Let's move on. Citibank, $7,691, negotiated down to $3,845. They are really saving you thousands of dollars. Chase, $2,324, negotiated down to $1,162. Let's tackle some other big ones. Upstart, $4,475 that you were able to negotiate, or they were able at $2,013. I'm going to give one last one and then give you the full total. You have a Synchron B, $3,327, negotiated down by them to $1,497. Of the cards that were in collection, you accumulated a total of $30,918, but you will be accounted to pay $15,469. So they were able to negotiate with you a 50% discount. How do they do that? You're going to have to confirm if actually this is the truth. What they generally tell you, stop all payments, all minimum payments on those cards. That's it, gone. You don't touch them. Because if you guys are in a situation where you're in a massive credit card pinch and you want to get yourself out of it, if you're maintaining minimum payment, the cards remain active, you're never going to be able to negotiate in collection, and it's going to linger forever. In fact, if you just pay minimum payments on your cards, you're literally paying purely interest. You're never going to get up on it. So if you just are doing that, so that's the case. They probably told you, stop everything.
That is correct.
Let them go, and we'll make it work on your behalf. What they do is they collect then payment for you on a monthly basis, around $250 that they put into a fund, and then they just send offers to the credit card companies. Hit or miss, they always have a little bit of a buffer for you in case you need to delay payment, because you're not paying them directly, you're paying a fund that they manage, and then it's their responsibility to assign to the credit cards, and they take their cut in the middle for what they're getting. Is that right?
That is correct.
But we have that debt. We have, although, active credit cards as well. And that's the one that I'm going to have to go at you for, because I see balance here on new credit cards, $5,247 at an interest rate of 30%. And you also have another Apple card here at about 165. Okay, well, this one is a pretty new one. You've been paying it in full. That's the only card that you're paying in full, my friend. I see also, let's continue on our debt ride. A car, okay? Mm-hmm. $13,374 that you bought from the lease. You have equity on that car. It's worth $20,000. You have $13,000 of debt on it at a 9.1% interest. So let's look a little bit now together, because I'm not revealing yet the total amount of debt or your net worth, because it's challenging. Mm-hmm. Where do you spend your money? So, I tend to highlight areas where things are a little bit questionable.
Good.
And you may see here that on all the statements that you're doing, every other line is highlighted. So I have some questions for you, my dear friend. How can you justify here expenses that even myself, I can't even allow myself? We have, you're looking at me like this, but how can you justify hundreds of dollars of DoorDash?
Oh.
What's going on? Hold on. DoorDash, 46, 85, 91, 48, 53, 64, 113.
Okay. Well, I agree that DoorDash is the overly charges, or you see it frequently there.
Yeah.
But I actually do DoorDash, Instacart, and I order a lot because DoorDash doesn't only do food; they also do groceries.
So how do you justify paying a premium? Because that employee that DoorDash has to be paid. You have a car that is giving you 50 miles a gallon, and you're not doing the groceries.
Sometimes, unfortunately, when I had a job, I didn't have time. As a mom, and I had to decide. You know what? I'm not gonna be on time. I want my groceries already waiting at my door, and you have to evaluate. Okay, sometimes I've even felt that I was saving money in DoorDash groceries because I would take advantage of just getting what the list is, because when I go to the store, I end up taking items that I'm not supposed to.
Okay, so you're telling me you don't have time, but you have time to go to Golden Corral and the Irish pub, the Waffle Wonka, the Sephora for $78, the Michaels for $175. You're going out to Romain for like $57.
Yeah. Well, what happened there is that I tend to make my expenses not only for myself, but as a family. So I'm a people pleaser. And the Golden Corral was something that my son wanted to go eat.
Okay. Vegas.com, 1,468.
Oh.
Yep. That's not the Golden Corral. It's at $27 for the son. What's going on in Vegas?
It was my birthday.
Hold on. Your birthday, 1,500? And then Italy, transactions. You spent here on that weekend. Hold on. Liquor, DoorDash, pizza, Vegas.com, Ventura, the country club. You're going to the country club with $5,000 of credit card debt. What's going on that birthday? That's a $3,000 birthday.
Okay. So I didn't pay it all. What happens is that me and my sister, we divided the expense of the Vegas expense in 3. So she gave me back. Well, we're supposed to divide it.
Is your partner aware of this? Because, I mean, when did you get fired?
On the 20th of February. I didn't know.
Oh.
That
was before you got fired.
Yeah. I thought I was going to have a job. I thought I could treat myself at least $1,000, but I didn't. I was going to.
But why not paying your credit cards instead of putting $3,000 in
I
Vegas?
totally agree with that.
But think about the mindset for a second. What is it missing? Why are you allowing yourself so much distance? Because you could say, okay, you made a mistake with the gentleman, the personal trainer, and so on. I can understand that, okay? Then you have to come back. And you're paying debit because, of course, you can't pay. All your credit cards are still maxed out. You have no access to debt. Your credit score is pretty short. What's in your mind, my dear friend?
I didn't value money. I was in a life that I didn't need to think about money. But unfortunately, now that I'm living on my own, I need to think about the value of my time, my work, what I'm worth, and money.
Here is a perfect example of where you went sidetrack. Like $65 on a car wash.
Oh, actually, it's a membership.
But why do you pay $65 on a car wash?
Oh, because it's a one-time payment, monthly payment, and you can wash your car as many times you want.
Yeah, but you can wash it. I wash it, once every 3 months at the spray, and it cost me $3. Like you're in some ways allowing yourself luxuries that are completely outside of what, like your gas. You do your gas at Chevron. Why Chevron? Costco gas is literally 15% cheaper.
Oh, because
You know?
it was closer to my house.
But it's money that's coming out like this.
So you agree with
Amazon purchases. Oh, Shopify.
Shopify. I wanted to open up a Shopify account.
Yeah,
What happened?
well, you're opening up, you're buying there.
Yeah.
$182, $156. Michael's,
That's to like
$170.
yeah. I actually spent that money to do because it was material for work. I should have just used the company card.
Every other transaction to me here looks like unnecessary. Especially when how much are you paying for rent right now?
I'm not paying rent.
Right? And well, you at least are paying your car, so well, rent. Thank you to your ex-husband for welcoming you in that. At least it creates, in a way, a family environment with your son.
Yeah.
But car, $291 a month. You're spending $350 per month on your gas and insurance. $250. How do you spend $250 a month on insurance? What's going on?
I have a speeding ticket, and I also was I was in the carpool lane, and it was all because
Oh, no, you got pulled from the carpool lane?
yeah.
Oh, gosh.
I
You
didn't.
did?
Yeah. And I was late for work. I was late for work, and I didn't realize. I thought I was not speeding, and I didn't realize.
Oh, so you got speed on the carpool lane.
yeah,
Jackpot.
yeah, it's a double
Oh, gosh.
too. Like that, it was $1,000 ticket.
What are we going to do? What are we going to do? You're spending on all the things that I shouldn't see here. And on top of that, you're allowing yourself behavior that are costing you hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars.
I totally agree with you. I have to change my habits. I have to accept that that there's other ways to save up money, and that's why I'm here.
I'm also saying, like the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Phone, you're not bowling yourself on a Facebook Marketplace iPhone that's 2 years old. You're buying the brand new one at $1,100. You're taking a loan on that too.
True.
Why?
I guess because I was working, I thought it was easier just getting a phone that Met was offering, and I wasn't aware, or I didn't feel confident enough to have enough money to have like a $200 to pay off a phone off of the internet or a used phone.
Look, I'm going to be straightforward with you. Assets, $35,090. Debt, $35,130. Today, you're worth minus $40. So you've worked through a crisis in your family with your father, having to stand up for yourself in Mexico, having to move a full life here in America, a child, a divorce, an existential crisis. All of that pain, in some way, effort, but also mistakes, lead you today to be worth zero. What do we need to do to bring you back on track?
Well, I have to change my life.
What would 10 years older Isabelle, sitting in my chair right now, tell the younger her?
I will tell her, stop being distracted, stop neglecting her finances, and make a goal where you're going to turn your life around and make money. To believe in herself and give her confidence and make those lifestyle changes and sacrifices. So I believe that I have enough, the capabilities and the abilities to be an entrepreneur and make my own business.
Okay, so you're voicing to me now the want to go in the entrepreneurial journey. I respect that and I hear it because that's what I'm doing myself as well. What I can tell you though today with much respect is I don't think that you're ready for that yet.
I agree.
When I see people with spending behaviors like this, and as you know, I've done over 200 of that, this to me is the showcase of an instability in life. You don't have the statements of someone that knows where they're going. Almost as if you're not seeing the future, or it doesn't have much value. Because with you being in tens of thousands of dollars of debt and having the mental exit, knowing that your ex-husband is going through bankruptcy to go on a $3,000 trip in Vegas, seems completely outrageous. Think about it for a second.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. So we need to find a way to give you a purpose.
Yeah.
If you file for bankruptcy right now, I don't think you have any benefit for that. I don't think that you're the prime target for bankruptcy, because you're not going to get the benefit from it. You have enough of assets to balance against what you owe, that when you think about the life in general for you, it's $20,000. But somehow it is blocking you to anything. And now that's the thing. Getting from $0 to $10,000 is so much more difficult than getting from $10,000 to $100,000. Because you're in that pinch. You can't move. Every move that you do right now has a crazy impact on your future. So when I look at transactions here that are $50-$60, in your mind, I want you to click that this is actually a 10 times multiple. That's the mindset that I want for you to start having.
Okay.
A $50 expense at Sephora, or any of that BS here at $78 not too long ago, is $780. Are you going to Sephora and spending $780? Heck no.
No.
It's going to block you. You're going to be like, what? Never. I'm never going to do that. Put that multiple in your mind, okay? So every expense needs to be a necessity. Because I have no problem with you going and doing your groceries at grocery outlet where you're getting a good bargain. I have no problem with that. I have no problem with you, spending money here, I see for your son at Walmart or any of that for his school and stuff. That's not an expense to me. I want you for a moment, and that may seem crazy, to not think with emotion, but to think with structure. Your emotions are driving all of your purchases here. All of this is emotional driven. So I'm going to create with you now a structure that alleviates those emotions, where you just need to follow it by the letter. And I can guarantee you that if you follow the plan that we'll be discussing, you have a shot at getting back on track and actually succeeding in your life venture, and also thinking about your son.
Of course.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's do this. When I look at your recent statement, excluding the Las Vegas trip, which was a massive outlier, looking on average at how much you're spending per month on shit that you shouldn't be spending. You don't spend $300. That's how much we would like for you to start saving, or $600 to max out a Roth IRA because you have almost peanuts into retirement. You spend $1,872. You pretty much spend more on shit almost that you have on your checking account without paying rent. What I want you to know, what I want for us to commit here together, upon understanding all your story, I tailor it specifically to you. As I told you, I don't want you to think with emotions. We need to think with execution. In a way, what I'm saying is you're an engineer. And what is an engineer? It's a machine. Think for 1 year as a freaking machine. You're going to execute on the following tasks. Number 1, I need you to make sure that you file for unemployment right now and make sure you get this. But that's assuming that we get that. What does that mean for the rest? For you to get back on your feet, I want you to leverage your car as an asset. Your day is going to be organized as follow. 5 hours per day, you're going to be driving for either DoorDash, Lyft, Uber Eats, or any of that shit. I don't care. You need to make $100 a day, 5 days a week. Why? Because when I calculate your needs, you come to 1,926. Okay? What does that mean? That means that by driving 5 hours, 5 days a week, you're going to be covering your needs. And I'm assuming car expenses and taxes as well. That leaves you 3 hours in a work day to do everything you can to find a damn job with the experience that you have. We are protecting yourself from incurring any more debt, which you're about to get into if you don't change your behavior. And secondo, we are also starting to frame your mind as someone that needs to live in a survival mode. The Golden Coral, Sephora, Amazon, Shopify, all the subscription shit that you have all over the place is gone. 1 year. I'm literally just asking you for 1 year because I know really well that if you're able to follow this plan for 1 year, you're going to be a completely different person in the year that you're sitting here back with me later. I just want you for once to not have to think and trust the process. You satisfy your need until you're able to find a job. From that point, I want you, please, to never in your life engage into credit cards. You get into 12 different credit card debt and you don't stop. So this should never exist for you. You can't trust yourself on this. You just have at this point to tell yourself, this is the person that I am and this is how I function with me. I'm not a credit card person. I can't trust myself on that. I eliminate from it. If I were you, I would take the Apple Card and the other one that you have $5,000 and I would literally cut them.
Yeah.
From that point, assuming that we have survival mode activated, I am giving you $100 a month for you to take care of yourself. That means if you want to go on a drink at the Irish pub, it's part of the $100. I don't care. I just don't want you to go from 1,800 to zero because you're never going to do that. I'm giving you a little bit of money, and this money is cash. It's cash. So if you need to spend $20 on Amazon, you go to the bank and you deposit $20 before you make your purchase. What I'm doing is voluntarily creating in your mind point of blockage where you have to think before you make that action. That's how you change your behavior. I'm voluntarily putting borders and barriers so that it makes you take a break and maybe I shouldn't do that. That's what you're wanting because you're going all in. There is not much thought process. You're just like, oh, I feel this way, so I'm going to go this way. Once you've established those borders, you're going to find momentum by the fact that you're paying your debt. And not in the one that you've experienced previously where, oh, I'm paying my debt and now that's fine. I can take another credit cards and max it out, which is what you've done.
Yeah.
Every single cent that doesn't go to a need goes towards paying debt. Every cent that you're spending on not needed items has a multiple of 10 in your mind. In your mind. So the coffee, although you're not a coffee drinker, I'm glad to see that you're not buying crazy coffee. But the restaurants and so on, where you're spending $100 or so on crazy shit, it's a 10-time multiple. What the hell? Am I going to spend, $1,300 at this restaurant here or there at the Venetian? No, never. 10 is your multiple for you. Because what's going to happen is that assuming that you're able to find a job within the next 3 months, and you're ultra aggressive with your debt repayment, in 1 year, you're going to be debt free at 40 years old. And I will tell you that you still have the time to get back and take it on life. You're not too late. You've taken a wrong turn. You can still correct it, no problem. What I would want for you to find, in a way, is accountability. This is the big thing that I'm missing here in your picture, is you have no one that's telling you, hey, Isabelle, you're fucking up right now. So I need you to find a person that is going to be with you through that journey, that you can interact with as you're going through that. Because my concern is that if you're on your own, in a way, I don't think that you can trust yourself in accomplishing all of that. But if you find someone, either in your peers, in your ex-husband, or someone that you can trust that will at least listen to you, to keep you accountable, you now no longer feel alone in the journey, which is what happened when you felt when you left at some point to find that new partner in Vegas. It was probably something that happened here, some lonely ship or something where maybe you felt a little bit alone. Okay? So if you find nobody, every single month from now on, if you make the commitment, I'm expecting your email with an update.
Okay.
What I'm thinking though is that I still see true potential in you, assuming that you can find the person that you are. Because from the moment that you're now becoming debt-free, so many things are going to fall, including taking care of your son through specific retirement plans like a 529, implementing retirement strategy, taking care of potentially your independence completely, because right now you're at the mercy of someone. You've completely lost control over your life. And finally, hopefully, find your right purpose. But all of that is not going to take place until you change the person that you are with regards to your finances, with regards to your emotions, and just trust the engineer that is in you to follow and work as a machine for the next year. What do you think?
I think it's game on. I can definitely do that.
Okay, I'm going to put all of that for you on paper. Do I have your commitment with Shake?
Oh, you have my commitment.
Any final words that you would like to say maybe to women or even males that are finding themselves right now in middle life and maybe a little bit lost or just not, maybe don't have it all together, but are going to get there at some point? What would you want to say?
Any working class that's just living paycheck by paycheck, thinking that, okay, you got a credit card and that it's a luxury. And unfortunately, it's not. Credit cards are overrated. They get you in debt. And you can buy something, you can get an asset, but it's just because it's a brand doesn't mean it's way overpriced. As long as it does the function, you can be humble and you can still have what the item accomplishes. So just be humble. And I'm learning and appreciate the people that support you. And like you said, you have to find that person that puts you in the right direction, or that gives you that intervention. And for me, he's my son. My son is very important to me. He's my priority, and I'll do anything for him.
Okay. Show it to me, because all of this will happen and you still have time to make it right for him. Guys, it was a pleasure. Thank you so much for Isabelle for coming on the show. Wider Ride of Emotions. If you like this type of content, we invite you to like and subscribe. Until then, I see you guys next time. À bientôt.